Okay, so this chapter is over chapter 8 in Chick-fil-A branding. And a couple of things before we get started is that Chick-fil-A is debt-free. So let me just go right here. In 2012, they became debt-free. And so everything that you read in here, I think it's important to remember that. And then what's also pretty exciting is that the authors here are not, authors from Christian universities, but I believe they do a great job of explaining the Chick-fil-A brand and doing it justice on why it is and how it is a Christian brand. And so those are great questions at the beginning, just to kind of look over and see, identify some brand associations and what are the visual identity characteristics, which is, I guess, in one of the previous chapters that we talked about. Most of you would probably say the cows, which was representing Chick-fil-A for, I believe, 22 years is what the book said. Some of the more exciting things, I guess, related to sports is that they have, they got into doing a couple of different things in sports, and so we'll get to that eventually. Let me see if I can find it. So in here it's talking about being on the foul pole and baseball. Here it is. And so they had the Chick-fil-A Bowl in 2005 for 5 years for $22 million. They've also done like a golf event, and they're in college stadiums and professional sports stadiums with their cows and also with their food, which I think is pretty exciting and important. And we used to have Chick-fil-A at ETBU, which I thought was awesome, because it's a Christian university and Christian food. I felt like that really was a good partnership, even though we don't have it now. Some things that you probably associate Chick-fil-A with is the idea of the experience related to how the employees treat you, which is the idea of saying my pleasure. It's my pleasure to serve you. And then also knowing that it's closed on Sundays. It always seems like on Sunday I want Chick-fil-A. And that to me is a little bit of marketing as well, because it's when you can't have something that you want something. It also makes a pretty good statement if you've ever been in a mall on a Sunday or been somewhere a Chick-fil-A wouldn't be open, but somewhere right next to it, it is. It's just a reminder. And if you read kind of the history of Chick-fil-A, I think it's really important to know your values and stick to them. And even if, I believe there's a quote somewhere where they're saying that they would rather make a week's worth of sales in 6 days rather than a week's worth of sales in 7 days. That if you can, shut down for 1 day and still make the same sales, that they would rather honor God and honor their integrity through those 6 days rather than just being open that 7th day. And they've also been very generous with their money, and I think that something to think about whenever you're wanting to brand yourself, and also just be a good steward in general, is to think about the legacy that you're leaving behind through the donations and the types of things that you're able to establish using your brand. This week in your journal articles, I believe you're talking about corporate responsibility. And I think that Chick-fil-A does a good job of thinking, how are we adding to society? And so by even offering like a healthier option, I think that's a positive. And then also having grilled chicken allows for people with food allergies to gluten to still be able to have a good meal as well. And so this little scenario that is pictured here is kind of the presence and the atmosphere that Chick-fil-A is trying to establish. They, one, want you to know that they're Christian. They, two, want to have good food. And they also want you to be, I would say, transformed through the experience that you have into wanting to do good for other people. And of course, they are Christians, and they do what they can to associate themselves with types of events that are Christian. And so some of the, I guess, negative attention that Chick-fil-A has gotten recently is about their stance on things that would be considered not traditional Christian views. And so in this case, same-sex marriage, I think their stance on it is that we believe in this, but we're still going to give you great service. And so I think that they were able to avoid most of the conflict by saying that these are our views, and we are Christian. Everything that we do is Christian, and we will still serve people that do not agree with us, but we expect you to respect our decision to have these beliefs as well. So some other things to think about is how Chick-fil-A has been successful in activating the sponsorships through the experience that they experience in the game. And so by having the cows on the foul poles, that's an example of activation. It says eat more fowl. Well, when people have a foul ball, they look up and they see the cows that say eat more fowl. And so now they're thinking about eating more chicken or going to Chick-fil-A. And so anytime that you can activate a brand, then it's going to be a better sponsorship. And of course, having a Chick-fil-A concession stand that is completely Chick-fil-A allows them to better meet the needs of the customers rather than just having a sign that says Chick-fil-A. So people can actually engage with the brand rather than just seeing that they are a sponsor of the event. And so if you're going to plan a 5K, it would be better for you to have Chick-fil-A come and give out free food as their sponsorship rather than just being on the t-shirt saying that Chick-fil-A was a sponsor. And most of the time they'll do both. They'll give you money and also possibly give you free food as well. But you can also do an in-kind donation, which is the food is their donation. So either way, it's better to activate, and they do a great job of activating through professional sports in the ways that was listed in the chapter as well. Some other things to think about is that I think because they are debt-free, they're able to do a lot more things that they would like to do. Given that they have, not only scholarships that they give out, but actually, leadership progression within their company as well, that makes them a great company and a great brand that people trust and also want to know more about. And so there's quite a bit of information if you want to look up the Cathy family and learn more about the Chick-fil-A brand in general.